Hey YouTube, it's Prometheus13. Just say right now, sorry about the background noise. I am playing Jump Force at the same time as making this video. But with that being said, let's get into this. So I made a video recently, and it was about Scratchman Apoo, and just how like I don't have the same opinion that I've been listening to a lot of other people having on like how on power scaling Scratchman Apoo. Like I've seen blasphemy of Yonko level command, Yonko commander level command, fucking confirmed. And I just I don't see it, guys. I just see like okay, if there was like a special class that like sometimes the power stretched into Yonko commander level, then like like level 3, then maybe I'd put Scratchman Apoo's power in that category because it sometimes reaches in there. And you know, with that being said, that's kind of where I had some thoughts. All right, and it was essentially just like, okay, so Scratchman Apoo, as far as we know, uses music to fight, but not in the sense of what I was like. I kind of like thought that it was exactly how I was indicating it, as he was using sound waves in generally. But I actually, and you know, just thinking about it and seeing what the art looks like, Scratchman Apoo manipulates sound waves using the instruments on his body. So realistically, what's happening, why there's like, you know, he's able to send a blade force when like he, you know, Zoro said there's no blade and explode somebody from the inside out, is because he's using the different frequency, the different sound that different instruments make. You know, any composer would be able to tell you, you know, that each individual sound, you know, that frequency, as they overlap, become stronger and stronger and stronger until the point where the, you know, orchestra room is vibrating. And with that being said, I think that we should see it as like, I mean, we don't actually know. Like, the music doesn't have to sound great, but he said fighting music. I mean, it doesn't have to sound aesthetic or pleasing, but in my head, I would think the more, you know, the more pleasant or the better sounding the music is, you know, the more enthralled you are in the music, probably the more powerful it would be. And with that being said, you know, this, you know, Scratchman Apoo, he's got a stupid devil fruit. But with, like, again, this goes into power scaling. Like, we need more information. We don't have clarification on how his devil fruit works. As far as we know, Scratchman Apoo, his devil fruit is stupid, but as far as what we can tell, just definitive proof that from what we've seen, you know, he himself does not yet have a confirmed broken devil fruit, which again brings me into the next topic, which goes into exactly how I kind of ended that last one, which was, you know, or I brought up in that last one. It's the kid is almost this dude's like natural enemy, like electromagnetic like the ability to actually manipulate electromagnetic frequency, like, or electromagnetic waves. We don't know the actual definition of his ability yet, so like we don't want to say like that's exactly what he does do, but at the exact same junction, it's like already, regardless of circumstances, just and what we've seen from him, we know he has confirmed a broken devil fruit. It is broken. It just doesn't make sense. And I'll compare this to, you know, the easiest case scenario. All right, I'm sure everyone remembers, you know, everyone who reads One Piece, I would just assume you know something about X-Men. You know about Magneto at the very bare minimum. You know, he could control electromagnetism. Now, with that being said, think of this dude's power set. All right, and for those who were not familiar with X-Men and Magneto, you know, the control of electromagnetism gave him a whole lot. He could not only levitate and fly, but he also was pretty much invulnerable. Nothing that was made of metal could come anywhere near like hurting him, and he could also, you know, kill people from the inside out by bending the iron in their bloodstream. And there's just all kinds of ridiculous applications to the electromagnetic ability. I mean, just like, if you don't know, like, read some X-Men. It's good. It's good. It's not always the greatest, but there is great. But it's good. And, you know, just looking at that, I mean, look at Kid. I mean, right now, all we see him, we may see that ability, and it's damn strong. Like, he makes huge piles of metal to make his limbs. that he chooses to fight with. And I mean, if we just saw an application outside of those, of using it just to brawl, essentially, like if he, like, I mean, look at, I'm sure a lot of people have seen X-Men: The Last Stand. As though it wasn't the greatest movie, we can still all pretty much confirm that in X-Men: The Last Stand, ripping the Golden Gate Bridge, ripping the Golden Gate Bridge, I said it twice, straight out of its arches, and so that he could get his mutant army to the island in which he was, you know, wishing to go to. Now, cinema. But, I mean, these, of mutant powers, electromagnetism is an omega level mutant ability. It's the highest tier. Unlimited potential, as you could say. And, I mean, with that being said, we know Kid has a broken devil fruit, you know what I mean? And, I mean, that, it gets you into a whole different conversation where, you know, this fight, like, there is no fight between, you know, Monkey D. Luffy, Roronoa Zoro, and Scratchman Apoo. Like, what you saw is what you saw, and if there is, like, you know, a get back shot, I just see this dude getting thrashed. Like, I actually see next week starting with, like, Zoro and Luffy being like, man, I can't believe Kid jumped in like that, and he's like, yeah, man, I feel bad for Scratchman Apoo. That dude got squashed. I mean, like, you saw, half this dude's body is on the other half of that hand, and like, on the rare chance that he is a Logia type user, and that's how his body is augmented, which I don't think it is. I think that the augmentation, unless if he has an accordion as part of his ability set, which, I mean, it could be all musical instruments, we don't know. Again, I think that in these next couple chapters we're going to get a better explanation and be able to properly power scale Scratchman Apoo. You know, I think that me, myself, everyone, I think we're all wrong. We're all wrong in you know, just so quickly jumping to what we think, you know, from just the light context. Like, I mean, I just saw, I think it was Okiji, sorry if I'm mispronouncing the name, but, like, I do listen to this dude, and he had and, like, it was like he has the first one I seen that had the exact same sentiment I did, that just, like, Scratchman Apoo, like, the premise, the context of fighting, like, this isn't a fighting manga, you know, Brago Diaz mentioned the same thing, this is not a fighting story, and so, like, the context in power scaling, it's not great, but I can definitely say that without a doubt, you know, Eustace D. Captain Kidd, he's about to crush him. He's about to crush him like Dai is now doing to my dude Seto Kaiba with his super move. And that was not clean, guys. That was not clean. That was like the opposite of clean. I mean, I'll get a burst beam of destruction in on him, but it was not clean, guys. Anyways, with that being said, I mean, I just see Apoo getting the clapper. Just there's nothing he can do there's nothing he can do to my dude. Not a thing. Not a thing. It's kind of like just over for him, dude. Like, again, like, unless we get a comeback, like, literally, like, I'm just trying to make up for what happened to my dudes Monkey D. Luffy and Roronoa Zoro. Maybe there's like a quick comeback shot, but but like that kind of, like, I guess you can get this into debate. I mean, like, Luffy found out, like, the easy way, like, because he is a genius, like, which I also covered in another video, which you should watch if you have not. I covered in a different video that, like, Luffy is a genius when it comes down to a fight, like, when it comes down to fighting and to further aspects. Like, he is a big picture thinker. And, you know, I definitely could see, you know, their main objective in that last chapter was to get away from the commotion they just caused. Like, yes, they know that Monkey D. Luffy is there. And what, you know, there are a lot of people who were of the opinion, well, why did you run? Why did you run? Well, you got to think about it. Like, there's still a plan going on. And regardless of circumstances, as dumb as you want to conclude Luffy is for his in general desires, which is to be a person who gets to rush in headlong, head first, you know, that he himself is smart enough to deduce the plan, that Law is with them, and that he has seen Luffy operate, and he knows how Luffy and how Kid will operate, and he pretty much just says, like, hey, we're gonna plan on them being a distraction. What better way of distracting them than leading them on what would be a wild goose chase? Like, it would actually so oftenly is shown Luffy doing stuff like that, and then people pointing stuff out, and then him just being like, oh no, I was just doing, and it's like, no man, like I think that he a little lightweight, just like does not want people to realize he's as smart as he is, because then they'll think they can reason with him when that is not the case. He's not a, for all intents and purposes, Monkey D. Luffy is not a reasonable man. He does what he wants to do, and it just somehow falls into context sometimes that what you want is what he wants. You know, with all of this being said, you know, I definitely am like, you got to think, like, you know, the whole point of the Paramount War was for Luffy to realize that, you know, he had to rethink the way that he would want to do things at the current power level he was at. And, you know, the 2-year time skip was to give himself a power boost. And I mean, I know a lot of people, like, we see fights that are like him still training, so we know he's still training that strength. But I mean, that's pretty much, in my opinion, what this war is about. You know what I mean? About him proving strength, not as a Yonko, but as a person who can rush in headlong, head first, and not have to worry about his crew. You know, and like I said, I just feel like our boy gets hated on a lot for that. I can't say that he doesn't. He does. You know what I mean? And he wears that scar on his chest as, you know, proof that you can lose something. You know, it'll always serve as a reminder to him. And, you know, and that scar motivates him, and that's why Kaido won't win. I mean, plot armor, obviously, but Kaido won't win. You know, and when it comes down to it, fundamentally, the mental mind state that Luffy has is one of a person who would know that sending them on a wild goose chase is a better route to take than actually trying to, like, you know, just brawl it out with over 100 gifters, Scratchman, Apoo, with, you know, Queen right up over the balcony. Like, you know, Luffy, again, he, like, if you don't agree with my sentiments that he is realistically a genius, you'll give me Savant, especially in battle. And he knows, you know what I mean? They're kind of outfoxed at this point. But, like, you know, that again, I'm reiterating, that's the point. And Luffy knows this. He knows that the point is for them to rush after him and to think that he broke out of Udon. That him and now Eustace D. Kid broke out of Udon. And, you know, they think, you know, Orochi is for sure going to tell Kaido when Kaido hears about this that, like, oh, don't worry about the scabbards. Don't worry about the reinforcements. Don't worry about the alliance. It's definitely just Monkey D. Luffy, Straw Hat Luffy, whatever sentiment. It's just Straw Hat and Zoro and Kid. Those are the only ones who we need to worry about. And then, you know, assuming that Kanjuro doesn't get to him before we have this meeting of the great, you know, the great Legion of Doom. Sorry guys, another comic book reference. You know, then we assume that they go completely unaware that the Alliance is encroaching on them, in fact. It's gonna be masterful stuff. Like, I don't want to drag this video on, but there's so much that you could talk about. I mean, right now we need to flesh out Apoo's fruit as a whole. Like, if he was just manipulating sound waves, that's too stupid. It's too broken. Like, the instrument, I understand, Oda, like, you can't just have some dude out. It's pretty much, like, it's already stupid and broken that the kid can do all the stuff that he can do. You know, it's kind of already broken and stupid that a lot of the devil fruits that exist. But, I mean, when you have, there's a nice power balance between Haki, people who can control Haki, very, 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 very nice mastery and understanding of a devil fruit, and, you know, just the in general experience that one gains from sailing on the Grand Line. Like, I mean, all of these things are culminated into how powerful a character is, you know what I mean? Like, those who don't understand power scaling, that's really what it is, you know, tenacity only will get you so far when it comes to overall power. And I'm for one in the thoughts that we have not seen 60% of Luffy's true power that he is trained for. Like, he hasn't gone 100% all out, and the fight that we'll see that in is coming up. It's against Kaido. We're gonna see him at 110%, and this may be an awakening arc. I think that Luffy could awaken his devil fruit very easily in this arc. I mean, it just would make sense, you know? I mean, Luffy is so close, I think. He's so close. He's so close, and I think it was O'Hara did a really nice video on Devil Fruit Awakening, and I think that for his specific logic, I think that this arc fits very nicely for that. I mean, the Wano arc, again, like I said, in my own opinion, I mean, you guys can drop in the comments what you think this war is about, but if the war of the best was the Paramount War, this is the war for the war for strength. Not to take strength. Not a war like usual where you take land, but a war to display your unwavering strength. And that's what we're going to see from Monkey D. Luffy. That's how he solidifies his spot as the 5th Yonko. Cinco. I'm just saying, that 5th Yonko spot is his. And it's not unreasonable. And again, I'm saying, there are people who are probably well, why is that important? That's not that does nothing to getting you the king of the pirate spot. And it's yeah, you shouldn't care about the 5th Yonko spot, Luffy, but us as the readers, we have to understand that there are greater things going on here. For instance, right now there are several territories that need to be under Luffy's flag. They will greatly protect them. They will also put themselves in slight danger by donning Luffy's flag, but this war should help stave some of that danger off. I'm just saying. You understand what I'm talking about? You feel me? If not, we can do another video to explain that, because again, we're getting that can be a lengthy conversation all in itself, just the dynamic of what it is to have a Yonko's flag protecting you. I mean, there was a reason I was freaking out when I was reading through the Dressrosa arc, or right after the Dressrosa arc, I'm reading through Whole Cake Island, and I see Bartolomeo burned Red Hair Shank's flag right off it's a bannering a town, and he burns it right off the banner post. He's just setting it on fire and saying, nah, Luffy. And there is a good chance that Monkey D. Luffy may have to bail Bartolomeo out. That may be a scenario where, you know what I mean? The reason the Grand Fleet shows up is because they fucking ended up at war with the red hair pirates, and to clear it all up, they have to come to Wano where they know Luffy is, so that he can vouch for them. That's just a crazy, again, scenario that will probably never go down, but it's still pretty funny to think about. But still, I can't believe this dude really burned red-haired Shanks' flag. He burned Shanks' flag. He burned it. You know he loves the Luffy broke into Impel Down, but damn, dude. Go get Mr. Bon Clay. Don't burn Shanks' flag. What are you doing? What are you doing? I don't know. I'm sorry. My mind's just blown by that. Again, we'll talk about that later in another video. But those are my thoughts. Leave me some comments, subscribe for more content, and drop a like if you liked the video. If you disliked the video, my bad. Sorry I wasted some of your time. But other than that, everyone have a beautiful day, and I will catch you in the next one.